Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Magic the Gathering Spider-Man. I didn't realize Spider-Man was on there. Man-Wolf. I realized that now that I think about it, because it's a magic thing. Tie-in. Anyway, this is Man-Wolf, and I want to do a question of the day right away. Is this a character people like? Like, I knew that it existed, but I never paid any attention to it, but seeing it in hand, I know there are different versions of the character. Some look a little better than this, I think, but this is like a common one. I want to know if you guys like this character and if you wanted a figure of this character. And, man, I know Spider-Man has some really good characters, but I think some of Spider-Man's characters maybe aren't the best. But let me know what you guys think about this one. But maybe it's a good figure regardless. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. This is the package. It's a nice one. I like that they have the big window, the figure's very obvious accessories, the card that you get. We've already talked about the $40 price point in the other two reviews, so it's like, it's not worth it unless you're going to sell the card. For sure. Or if you're going to sell the figure and want the card. Either way, you basically have to sell one or the other in order for this to not be a ripoff. I don't have the card to show you anymore because I took the 4 cards from these figures and went to a local store, local shop, and traded them towards a Pokemon booster box because I don't have any desire for Magic cards. But yeah, I think they're averaging around like 25 to 30 bucks a pop right now. In the beginning, people were talking about the cards being worth 70, 90 bucks. Like, yeah, maybe a couple at the very, very beginning, but that's not where they settled at all. The card looks like this, by the way. I don't have it to show you, sorry. But then these are the other ones. I've reviewed these two. I will review this one, but there he, I guess it's a he, could be a she, I have no idea. Man-Wolf looks like a man to me, because they would have added boobs, I think, if it was a girl. Okay, so, here's the figure. It has more work into it than most Marvel Legends, that's for sure. Is that supposed to be down there? Maybe it is. I don't know. I can't get it up higher. Story of my life. So that's the character, and it has a lot of interesting things on it. So it might be a goofy character design, but Hasbro did some things really nicely here. Some really good features are here. And then other things not so well, but we're going to talk about all of it. So he stands roughly 6... We'll say to the ears, if you're very generous, 6 3/4. To the top of the head, about 6.5. That'll make him, we'll say 16.5 to the head, 17.2.3 to the ears. Here he is up against Darwin. So just a little bit of height, not a lot. Definitely not a $40 figure. So like I said, you have to sell something or want both things in order for this to be a valuable purchase. But yeah, it's, I don't remember if they've used these limbs before. I don't think they have. If they have, that's fine, because there's lots of new other stuff going on here. So there's plenty of sculpt. There's actually a surprising amount of paint on here. It's not the best, but you do get it. It's not the cleanest. On one of the spots, it's like pretty rough, but it's not terrible at all. And then even the different greens, you don't normally get that kind of variation on a Hasbro figure. It's pretty good. I think the eyes are lacking. It makes them look wimpy and weird the way they've done that. The mouth paint job isn't great, and the mouth falls off incredibly easily. It just like comes right off. But yeah, the paint job isn't especially nice on there. It's pretty cheap looking, but it's not terrible. I do have to mention this, and I could be wrong, and I always get people saying different things. Sometimes people say, yeah, you're right, or no, you're wrong, and then they're wrong, but on a wolf, the bottom teeth go in front of the top teeth, and you can't make it do that. It's designed for the mouth to be in farther, for the bottom teeth to go inside the top teeth. Or maybe it's not designed to go in at all. Yeah, like that. That's not how a wolf's mouth is. So that's strange. I guess it's not a real big deal, but I know someone out there is wearing a wolf t-shirt and thinking, hey, that's not what they're supposed to look like, and I wanted to point that out for them. But otherwise, it looks pretty good. It looks surprisingly good. There's a lot of sculpt work and a decent color variation for the molded plastics, and the paints are there. So for a Marvel Legends figure, this is not a bad release at all. There are definitely some issues we'll talk about, but it's not bad. It's really, really not. I think what they really needed to do is just a little bit of paint on the nails, just because it's solid white plastic, so it looks a little bit cheap and unfinished. I don't mean the kind they did on Juggernaut. I just mean like a slight color variation for the actual claws. But yeah, it looks pretty good. So for a Marvel Legends figure, assuming you're okay with the price point if you wanted both items, I'll go 8.5 out of 10 for the aesthetic. If you're only buying it as a Marvel Legends figure and don't have any use for the card and can't sell it, it's a $40 figure. You have to knock the price or the rating way down. So you do that if you need to. Alright, as far as accessories go, the first thing I'll talk about is just the quiver that's on him can hold arrows. The arrows come on a thing like this. You just fold it up and jam it in there. I'm not gonna make a joke. Okay, so you just stick that in there, and that looks like he's got his arrows in his quiver. That's nice. You do get a bow, which is not a good one, and an arrow, which is an even worse one. They're terrible. Hate the sculpt on those. You do get a sword. These are all reused accessories so far, other than the quiver arrows. The sword looks okay. And then for hands, you get 2 gripping hands, 1 vertical hinge, 1 horizontal hinge, and then an open hand and a fist hand. I think that's fine. No alternate face because he has the open jaw. Yeah, it's a decent spread of accessories. I'll go for Marvel Legends 8 out of 10. It's better than average. You can put the sword in his belt. It doesn't look great, but you can do it. And then of course you've got the quiver, and you could probably force the bow around his back, but you probably wouldn't want to do that. All right, so let's talk about the articulation. Here's something they did that I wasn't expecting. I figured, oh, it's going to have garbage articulation, but they actually made a long joint with a floating piece so that you can move the head around surprisingly well on this figure. Now, it's not some kind of high-end thing with, like, no gaps and everything looks wonderful all the time, but for a Hasbro Marvel Legends figure, this long ball peg joint with the floating piece is really, really nice. I appreciate that a lot. It still doesn't have a lot of range in certain directions, like you can't really look down, but it's pretty nice. And then, like I mentioned with the jaw, we'll zoom in extra close so you can see it. It falls off really, really easily. It looks alright when it's open, I guess, but it doesn't want to close straight a lot of the time. The teeth get stuck on each other, and then you'll just end up with like a broken jaw effect like that frequently if you're just moving it, because it has almost no retention. I don't think that's a real big issue, but it is something to be aware of. You don't want to accidentally lose your jaw because you're playing with this in the grocery store and it falls off without you knowing. Alright, for the shoulders, you have your full rotation there. Your shoulder hinge is there, fully hidden by this shoulder pad that is a separate piece, which I thought for sure wasn't going to be a separate piece. I guess it's cheaper for them to make it like this than it is to just paint and sculpt. I'm fine with it because that hides the articulation really well. It allows the shoulder pad to still move around. That's very nicely done. And you don't have to worry about the paint issue for either the gold or the white. So they did a really good job. Someone put a lot of effort into that shoulder compared to what they normally do. It's not like some kind of groundbreaking technology to have a shoulder pad, but they did do a really good job with that. So gotta give them credit where it's due, even though I'm a Hasbro hater, as I'm told. So you get your full rotation there, that's fine. Double jointed elbow, minimal range. Oh, come on, don't lose focus now. Minimal range. Yeah, not great at all. For the wrist, you get your swivel. Like I mentioned, you have different hinges on different hands. These don't come off, or unless mine are just like really stuck, but they seem to be glued or keyed. So you're not going to get more range out of those arms without cutting this. For the torso, we're still using an ab crunch, guys. It goes back just a touch. It goes forward more. I mean, for an ab crunch, it's okay. You can still get your waist twist. These figures, why aren't they updating them? It's just so strange at this point that they don't ever, not ever, but they rarely put in new engineering. We did the neck. Do this. Do it. All right, no drop down, thankfully. The hips, look at that. Almost full on splits and no crazy gapping. It's almost like all the things I say they can do, they do sometimes, and prove that I'm right, just to make my reviews better. That's funny. He can kick up to almost horizontal going forward, barely any range going back. Thigh swivel is fine, some poop on it right there. The whites are different colors throughout. It's not super noticeable to the naked eye under normal lighting, but it will depend on your lighting. Knee joint is good enough, no problems, good proportioning, it's functional, so that's fine. No boot swivel, ankles go all the way back, and with some force pretty far forward, and you get a pretty decent ankle rocker. So yeah, it's not like some kind of groundbreaking thing. They did a really good job with the neck. The shoulders are nice, the rest is pretty par for the course. The hips are really nice, the torso kind of sucks. I'm gonna go overall 7.5 out of 10. It's still a pretty basic figure, but it's not bad. It's not a bad one. Alright, now it's time for the final verdict. Accessories, decent. Articulation, good enough. Sculpt and paint and everything, better than average. I think this is a solid enough release if you want this goofy-ass character. And I don't say that in a mean way. If you like this character, hey, more power to you. Like whatever you like. To me, I don't need a wolf in semi-medieval clothing in my Marvel Legends collection. It's just not a character I need. And you guys can let me know how much you agree or disagree with that statement. But if you want it, it's a decent one for Marvel Legends standards. You could do a whole lot worse. Way worse. So I'm going to give this guy an overall rating for Marvel Legends. I'm going to say... maybe I've even been too harsh on it. The jaw falling off isn't that big of a deal. I want to say 9 out of 10 for Marvel Legends if... there's 2 scores. If you don't worry about the price. Because if you're going to sell the card or want the card, then it's fine. Then you can probably get it down to like 15 or 20 bucks for the figure, so that's fine. If you're just getting stuck with a card you don't want for this figure, then you're paying 40 bucks for this guy and it's only like a 7. Because 40 bucks is nuts. So you figure out how you want to rate it for yourself. But it's not a bad release on its own merits, and I'm going to leave it there. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.